I am leaving the Cameron trading post in Cameron, Arizona. Gonna head over to the Parks and Recreation office to get the permit to ride through the Navajo Nation. I'll also get some gas, some waters, and then should be ready to go and close out this BDR. Alright, I got my permit, got fuel, got water. Let's get started on the last 153 miles of the Arizona BDR through this beautiful area. Very little, but it made this entire canyon. Alright, we're coming up on our turn off on dirt, I assume. Permit required. We do have the permit. It's beautiful here. I love this Four Corners area in Utah. I do a lot of riding out in Utah, and it's just, I love it. It's so beautiful. light is amazing too in this, with the sunrise coming up. Absolute privilege to ride out here. You can see a lot of wet spots and muddy spots slowly on the side of the road from the storm that came through that prevented me from going camp at Grand Canyon. Luckily, the main part of the roads are fairly dry. It's kind of the sand, the dirt is kind of wet, but it's not a bad thing. It keeps the dust down some, and it's a little bit more tacky for riding, so works out well. And obviously, since this is Navajo land, I'm not allowed to fly the drone, which I'll definitely respect. There's 15 miles or so at the end of this BDR, which is the Vermilion Cliff area, where I will be allowed to fly again because we're outside of the reservation. And I'll try to get some footage there. I think this is my third visit to Navajo Nation now. Been to Canyon de Chelly, then Shiprock for the solar eclipse. It's always such a privilege to visit here. The people are so incredibly nice. A lot of standing water on the sides, not of the trail, but like in the brush. Probably not draining very well here. You see a huge amount of flooding there in the right. I'm a little sad that camping didn't work out well in Arizona for me. It was either way too hot or the storms came through. But I mean, that's just how it is sometimes. Therefore, the riding was really good. Saw some incredible things. Definitely a trip I won't forget. Alright, turning onto the next trail. Looks like this one is a bit of a smaller 2-track. The sand is wet, but not muddy. Just a little wet. Slippery. And we're back on the big road. That was short. I do see a couple of motorcycle tracks through here, either from this morning or yesterday probably. Such a beautiful place here. I know, broken record, but it probably doesn't come across like that on video, so you gotta be here. But it is very, very beautiful. It's definitely a little sandy here. What a view. I wonder what all these roads and trails are leading to. These are just Navajo built. If these are old mining routes or trading routes. Do they just go from property to property? I'm not sure. Kind of curious. Best I can describe are ranch roads, but I don't see any ranches. But it just might be open grasslands for cows. Some fun two-track riding here. two tracks here. Piece of cow. Got a little wash coming up. Sandy wash. What an incredible view with those cliffs in the background. The GoPro crashed, but it was a while of really rough two-track, so not everything is hard-packed and fast. It's now about 11 o'clock in the morning. Making slightly less progress than I thought, but it's all good. 66 miles left to the Utah border. About 50 of that in Navajo Nation still. Person standing there. These people are just picking some flowers, it looks like. It's getting warmer and warmer now out in the sun. Tell you what, I'm a big fan of these new riding gloves that I got. Troy Lee Fly. Very lightweight, very breathable, comfortable. Still have knuckle protections. fresh oil. I don't like the sound of that. I hope that stuff doesn't get the bike all nasty. How's it going? That was like a 20-minute delay waiting for the pilot car to come through. Freshly oiled road. I hope it doesn't get all my nice bags all super messy, but we'll have to see. Especially since my tail with the license plate is missing. It's just gonna splash up there. We're gonna cross the Navajo Bridge, which marks the border between Navajo Nation and the Vermilion Cliffs. Oh man, this is gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful cliffs. Reminds me a lot of Moab. I mean, we're kind of in the same Utah area almost. Absolutely gorgeous. It is 11:30 now. We got 46 miles to go to the end of the BDR. So still probably around lunchtime or so. Or shortly early afternoon. Gonna wrap up the BDR and make our ways back home, Colorado. Gonna be a long, long drive. It's about a 12-hour drive, I think, to my house in Colorado. As much as I would love to just push through it and get there today, there's just no way to do that. So most likely I'll be spending the night somewhere in the San Juans, around Durango or Pagosa, Saguache, something like that. Cliff dwelling house. Alright, we're getting ready to leave this road and then drive by the Vermilion Cliffs on dirt for a while until we reach the end of the Utah BDR. Arizona BDR and then into the Utah border. Not sure if I can fly my drone. Actually, I didn't realize Vermilion Cliffs was a national monument, so We'll have to see what the borders of that monument is. But for now, we're gonna get on the House Rock Road. It looks like it's gonna be National Monument land here, so GoPros only. What a beautiful sight to end the Arizona BDR to in a few miles. There's red rolling hills, open desert, brush. As the Arizona BDR here is coming to an end, I'm reflecting on the time I have spent riding it and the time that I've spent just experiencing the state of Arizona. It's been quite a trip. Arizona in many ways I think is a state of extremes. Extreme heat, desert, wealth, poverty, conservatism, liberalism, hot, burning deserts, 108 degrees riding through the saguaros, and then hours later being on the top of a canyon rim with a hailstorm and cooling down to 52 degrees. It has so much variety in landscapes and people and food and in everything. It's been a wonderful adventure. It's been hard in some ways, it's been easy in others, but it's always been absolutely beautiful and a great experience to ride through. So I look at my time on the BDR here as really a fantastic adventure, and I feel very fortunate to be able to have ridden all this beauty from the funky mining town of Bisbee through the border fence area, which is little more than just a little livestock barrier, to the absolutely stunning saguaro wildlife areas down in the desert valleys in the high heat, and climbing upwards of 7 to sometimes 8,000 feet on the different mesas and rims, and dropping out into the Grand Canyon, riding the beautiful Navajo land with amazing people living there, through now ending it in this area with the Vermilion Cliffs and the crazy reds and purple colors that are coming through. What a great BDR, what a great adventure, what a great trip. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you're considering riding the BDR, any of them, but especially Arizona, won't do it. Maybe pick a slightly different time of the year than I did. Probably October, or earlier in the spring, but what a cool trip this has been. And I'm glad I was able to film much of it. The Utah border is only 2 miles ahead of us, and that will be the last check-in before I'm ending the Arizona BDR, but not just the Arizona BDR, but my big yearly trip of having finished the Continental Divide ride through Colorado and New Mexico as well. It's been 2 weeks of really, really good riding. Definitely has its ups and downs, its highlights and lowlights, but every adventure is that way, otherwise it wouldn't be one. So for now I'm gonna sit back, relax, and enjoy the last couple of miles. Just silently reflect on all of the different things that I've experienced here over the past couple of weeks. What a trip. Here we are. This is it. This is the end of the Arizona BDR, the end of Arizona, the end of my trip. And we're entering the Grand Staircase Escalante Monument and heading into Utah. What an incredible trip. Long drive home from here, 12, 13 hours, something like that. We're gonna start it today, but definitely won't be able to finish it today. For now, we're gonna make it to the main road and go from there.